Hey everyone, welcome back to Realpolitik, and right now we're just going to be talking about Bakhmut, solely focusing on Bakhmut, and I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. So let's get right into it. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and give me that like, thank you. And yeah, let's get started. So, Bakhmut, the Ukrainians are retreating, the writing's on the wall, and some people are saying it's a partial withdrawal. But, I mean, this video will sum it up for you pretty nicely. So yeah, I don't know what they're saying, but it's pretty sad. I mean, these guys, they fought tooth and nail. A lot of them lost their friends, and they lost they lost their sanity, and now they're having to withdraw anyways. So a lot of them are upset about that, and it's understandable. Anyways, looking at the map, you can see that on the eastern side of the Bakhmutska River, see this blue line right here, the Russians have pretty much taken over the whole area, and the Ukrainians have blown all the bridges that would have allowed the Russians to continue going westwards. And of course, they also, as I mentioned in my previous videos, they flooded this entire area. They blew a dam right here, and that basically flooded this entire area right here. And they blew the last bridge somewhere in the north right here. And if we zoom in, it was said that the Ukrainians actually blew this bridge right here that's connected to one of the last roads out of Bakhmut. But the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking that it was probably maybe the Russians, because you see, it's the Ukrainians who want to use this road to escape, right? And now that that bridge is blown, the Ukrainians are basically having absolutely no choice but to go through the fields, as you saw in that video, and there's other videos, but they basically have to go through the fields and make their way to Kahan. Kahan is on the eastern outskirts of Chasiv Yar. And from there, they just get to Chasiv Yar. Now, I mean, it's not easy having to go through the fields, and they're probably low on fuel, and any vehicles that they would use would probably be targeted. I mean, the Russians are not very far away, right? I mean, the southern road right here, they are constantly pushing north, right? And they're less than a kilometer away, like 600 meters right there. As I've said before, that's within sniper range. Even like this northern road right here, this one road right here, I mean, they're like within rifle range, right? So mortars, artillery, rifles, preferably with scopes, and I mean, it's a very precarious situation, but the Ukrainians are doing a pretty good job of handling themselves. They're using their more elite units to basically hold the lines in the north and also counterattack as well, so that the Russians can't, outflank them and do something like this and basically block the Ukrainians from leaving. So they're launching counterattacks and also blocking the path forward. And in the south, it's the same thing. Their most elite units are blocking the path. They don't want the two pincers, the Russian pincers, to meet. And the Ukrainians are basically going through the fields and withdrawing. And they're actually being smart about it. They're withdrawing gradually. They don't want to cause a kind of a panic of any sort. They don't want all the troops to be congested together to make them an easy target. They are just gradually withdrawing, layer by layer, bit by bit. And supposedly, from what I've heard, some troops tried driving along this road right here at nighttime, and they were targeted. And supposedly the last night they tried using these two roads, they lost more than well over 100 troops and a few vehicles, armored vehicles. So it's not worth it. They have no choice but to go through the field. In my opinion, they waited too long. Now, something else I should mention. If you basically measure it out, the entire front around Bakhmut, I mean, you're looking at around like 25 kilometers approximately. And then from top to bottom, once the Russians take over Bakhmut and are able to face the Ukrainians on an even front, it's going to be something like 5 kilometers. So they that will be advantageous for the Russians once that happens. But the Russians are also being smart about what they're doing. They're not trying to use brute force. They're not trying to they're not trying to force their way to close the pincers. They're just taking their time and gradually wearing the Ukrainians down and pushing forward gradually, softening up their positions. But at this point, I mean, it's a foregone conclusion. Bakhmut is going to fall. It's just a matter of time. So the Russians don't want to sustain any more casualties than they need to. Now, this map actually shows the path the Ukrainians are taking. As you can see, they're not using the road. And all along the front, you see that the Ukrainians, you see these blue arrows, they're pushing against the Russians, who are also pushing southwards in the north. And in the south, the Ukrainians are also blocking the Russians from being able to move north. And anyways, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.